Hey, everybody. Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast. Thank you so much for checking out another episode. I got a good one for you today. Caught up with my friend, singer-songwriter Wes Hoffman. We recorded this episode at Encapsulated Studios in Maplewood area there. So big thanks to them for letting us hang out and record this one. Wes has some brand new music from his band, Wes Hoffman and Friends. And we got a big old show Saturday night. Blueberry Hill Duck Room, Saturday, November 18th, with Uncanny Valley, The Disappeared, and Stay the Course. Tickets available right now. And we're going to hear all about it on today's show. And hope you enjoy it. Big thanks again, as always, to my friends at Friendship Brewing Company in Wentzville, Missouri, for all their support. Serving up all your craft beer needs. Over 25 rotating taps out there. And I'm sure they have a beverage for you. You can get some to go. They've got little packs of cans to go to take the party wherever you go. Or you can come by and have a good time. Enjoy a beverage, grab some dinner. You got your burgers, nachos, flatbread pizzas, pretzels, and all kinds of tasty eats out there. And you can get some great live music while you're at it. And over the summer, they recently opened their brand new Fly High location in Flint Hill, Missouri. And serving up the same great beers, but all new dining experience out there, called the Fly High Kitchen. So come by, check out the Fly High location, and also gearing up to open up another location in Hannibal, Missouri. So big things happening for Friendship Brewing Company. So you can get some live music happening at their Fly High location this weekend on Friday, November 17th. Michael Marciano. Saturday, November 18th, Andy Tucker. And on Saturday, November 18th, Buddy Entwistle will be at the Wentzville location. You can find full details on these concerts, food menu, beer menu, and everything else at friendshipbrewingcompany.com. Be sure to plug in with them again on your Facebook and Instagram for more info. And keep an eye out for some more fun events happening out at Friendship Brewing Company. If you need anything from me, you can always find me at rockpaperpodcast.com. Hit me up on the socials. Email me, rockpaperpodcast@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you all. And with that out of the way, sit back, relax, and enjoy a brand new episode with Wes Hoffman.
Podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
This is Wes Hoffman, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out with returning guest, Wes Hoffman. Welcome back, man.
Thank you so much, Shane. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
This is 3 times now.
I think so.
Yeah.
I was on it one time with Why Not, too.
Oh yeah.
So maybe it may even be 4, 3 or 4.
Well, this year 3 as Wes Hoffman and friends, basically. I guess like the first. I think the first one wasn't necessarily an and friends yet, right?
No, it wasn't. It was. We were kind of going as like Wes Hoffman positive punk for a while, and yeah. But then the second time we did one during COVID, I remember. We did it over Zoom, and then I guess now too. So I feel like we did one in my studio back there too, but maybe we didn't.
I don't know. We did. The first one was at the barber shop.
Yep, I remember that.
So, but anyway, yeah, man, I'm glad to be back here with you. We got new music, got a big old show.
Yes,
got a lot of things happening for you and the band, and so. This is gonna be cool, man. I'm glad to catch up with you, and like I said, it's always fun. This I say it a lot, but this show is for me is that reason. I mean, I like discovering new music all the time too, but I love using this show as an excuse to catch up with my old friends. And,
absolutely.
And we all get busy with life, and so sometimes you got to schedule a hang with your buds and do a pod. So it's I'm glad we made this work, and. But let's get the business out of the way first. Get everybody hyped up for this weekend. We got a big show happening at the historic Blueberry Hill Duck Room.
Yes.
Wes Hoffman and Friends, November 18th, Saturday night. And you're bringing along support from The Disappeared.
Yes.
Uncanny Valley.
Yes.
And Stay the Course.
Stay the Course from Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Let's talk about this night.
Yeah. So this is going to be a good show. I'm really excited about it. And, I was just talking to you before this, like I am really big on not only playing in a band and writing music and performing and playing guitar and all the things that go along with being a band. Like I also book a lot of our shows, out of town shows in town. So I like producing events. In the past, I ran a company that did networking events. And I did an event a month for 2 years straight. So I love doing this kind of stuff. And my whole idea behind this lineup and this bill was, to have a newer band from St. Louis, Uncanny Valley. I've been seeing them play for a little over a year now, and they're really a really good up and coming pop punk band. They're more of like a modern pop punk band sound than we are, but they're really good. They just went on their first tour. They went up to Chicago and Indianapolis and northern Ohio and stuff like that. So I've gotten to know Ryan from that band, and he's a really good dude. And so I'm always kind of trying to help them out when I see like younger bands that are kind of starting out. I'm like, well, maybe there's if you guys need anything, I can help you. Or me booking shows around town too. Like I'm always looking to throw them on, and so I want to have a band like that, and then I wanted to have a band that's been around for a really long time, like The Disappeared. Of course, Gabe, and Dan Johanning.
Yeah.
I don't know if Brad.
Yeah, we did a Disappeared episode.
Okay.
When they reunited, and so we definitely dig those guys, and Dan and Gabe are sweethearts. I've known those guys for a long time, and all their projects they've been part of. And
we're actually Gabe. We're in your headquarters right now. At Encapsulated Studios.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have a band that has been around for a while, and Gabe of course recorded our album and our EP that we put out. And I was really, really hoping that we would have the album on vinyl for this show. I hate to burst everybody's bubble. We're not going to have it.
All right.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles. It was on schedule to get here before the show. And, I just found out recently that it's been delayed by a couple weeks. So we're going to miss it by a couple weeks, but I'm glad that I didn't initially bill it as our record release show, because I would hate to have to be like, hey guys, sorry, we're not doing it now. But it will be out very soon, I promise. But I wanted to have one of Gabe's bands play as well. And so that was kind of like, killing two birds. I hate to say killing two birds with one stone. Kill an innocent bird, but we took care of two things at one time.
All right.
And then Stay the Course. They're our really good friends from Wichita, and they're we have went on 3 tours with them now, and we've played a couple shows in Kansas. We played a show in Kansas City with them. We're playing another show in Kansas City with them, in December. So I wanted to have like an out of town band too. So I felt like we could and they Stay the Course has played here maybe 2 or 3 times now. So they've kind of built their own little following here. And I thought it was good because, you've got the newcomers, they're going to bring their crowd. You've got the old heads that are coming for Disappeared. You've got us, who we're kind of in the middle, where we've been around for 7 years. I've been heavily involved in the scene for like the last several years, but and then you have an out of town band. So it's like, hey, we can all bring our own groups of people and kind of like, trade fans or like maybe expose some people to some new music.
Yeah, man. Tickets available right now, and get them while you can. And but we don't have the new record yet, but we do have some new merch. We got shirts and things, so you can come out and support that way. Grab a new T-shirt and to let everybody know that you party with Wes Hoffman and friends. So
yeah, it's interesting because I saw somebody post something about how like a stream on, don't get me wrong, I want people to listen to our music, and if you listen on Spotify or Apple Music or Deezer or Tidal or whatever these other streaming services now, Bandcamp, then that's awesome. But like a T-shirt literally is like something like 1,000 times the revenue of, because you're getting 0.003 cents for every stream. So it really does. We are a band that likes to go out on the road, and that does cost money. So if you want to, and not just for us, like if you want to see other bands from St. Louis branch out from here and get a broader audience and make more of a name for St. Louis, like support them while they're here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like go to their shows, buy merch as much as you can, tip the merch guy, like do all the things, share their music. Like, if you can't spend the money right now, like share their music, share their shows. Like that really helps us a lot. Right. Because it is expensive and it's tiring, but it's encouraging when you have a show. And I've been out to shows and I've seen people wearing our shirts and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, thank you. Yeah.
I was just at a show Saturday and saw one.
Nice. Which show?
I was invited to MC host the 45 Outrun the Fall.
Oh, nice. At Diamond Music Hall?
Yeah. Modern Angst, Misplaced Religion, and the Richters. And Jared from Modern Angst was rocking his Wes Hoffman shirt. So
I love you, Jared.
Yeah, it was good. We had a real good hang. I hadn't seen him in a little while, so it was fun to catch up with him and see the band. And it was a great night, man. A lot of fun. A lot of a good, kind of like you described your show. It was a very similar kind of a feel, but not necessarily all the same reasons, but a good variety of rock. Everybody kind of fell under the umbrella of rock, but you got like you had Modern Angst kind of bringing more of the punk side of things. Misplaced Religion kind of more alternative. I feel like Richter's bringing like their own style, like a more in the grunge feel, like kind of stuff. But not. I mean, I wouldn't say they're fully there, but like that feel a little bit. And Outrun the Fall brings heavy, like those guys borderline on like some metal stuff and things, with just like a real hard rock band. And then the 45 kind of taps into a little bit more of that kind of classic rock feel to some of their stuff, even though it's still hard rock. But anyway, so just a lot of fun, a lot of different variety of sounds, and made for a great night, man. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
definitely. Saturday night, I went to a show at Heavy Anchor that night. But I knew that one was happening. It was the one I went to was Fight Back Mountain and Candy Lion, and who's he? Oh, Frozen Heads.
Yeah.
There's stickers right there.
Boom.
And then a band from New York called Action Park. But yeah, that looks like a great show. And
Yeah.
I've Dylan, who was just on your show, was talking about Diamond Music Hall and how it's a great venue. And I really feel like, I know we have this really weird thing in St. Louis where people from this, and I'm guilty of it too. I lived in Illinois. I grew up in Illinois, but then I lived in Collinsville for 10 years. So I don't mind going to the Illinois side at all. But I know people from here. I feel a little bit. It's harder to get me out to like St. Charles area.
Sure, yeah, I get it.
You know, I just don't know that area very well, and I get over there and I'm like, what highway am I supposed to be on? What am I doing? But I really feel like, you know, we need to kind of break down those barriers a little bit, because I know that there's people who live out in St. Charles and St. Peter's that are like, oh, sweet, a show that's close to me. Mm-hmm. You know, there's people who live in Alton. And have you been to the conservatory up there yet?
Not yet, no.
It's a really, really nice venue. And I know that there's people out on the Illinois side that are like Edwardsville, Alton, Collinsville area, that they would feel more comfortable going to a show in Alton than coming down here. So it's like, you know, we might do something in one of those areas next year. Who knows? We don't have anything booked, but you know, we might do something there.
I've often joked about doing like the St. Louis tour. You know, like you could almost, because all these little pockets, everybody's got their own little community and stuff like we're talking about, and you could almost do something like that. Just kind of do a lap around the city and play.
You very well could.
You know, so. You know, I'm having to make tour shirts up of like, you know, St. Louis and, you know, 23 or whatever. So, but I don't know. I think it's, I've run into it a lot, you know, I live out that way out west. So it's like for the longest time, everybody was like, you know, that nobody wants to cross the river, you know, people from St. Charles don't want to go to the city. The city doesn't want to go to St. Charles. And you know, and then now you see it too, like with now they got the factory there in Chesterfield, and a lot of people are like kind of like talking about how you know Chesterfield's not cool and like they don't want to go there, and I'm like, I don't know, if it's a good show, I'm going to see it, but anyway, so I drive all over the place. I don't care. I go to Columbia a lot too. I'll go all the way.
Okay.
You know, I'll go up to Rose or something for a good show, and
sure.
But yeah, so I mean, it doesn't really matter where it's at for me. If it's worth it, I'll drive it for it. So
yeah, absolutely, I agree. If there's I missed the Gaslight Anthem partly because they were at the factory, and then Bad Religion was at the factory, and I think I was out of town on tour on both of those shows, so I haven't been to the factory yet. But.
Yeah, it's a beautiful room, but it's pricey, that's for sure. Like I mean, just. You know, everything at that level, our tickets are going crazy right now for every venue, but, you know, so that's kind of the thing that stinks right now. You know, like people announcing all these big tours and I want to go see them all and stuff, but I was like, man, I can't afford to go all these shows.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a lot.
But it's nice that I can go to a nice, local rock show for $15 and have a good time. And
at the Duck Room at Blueberry Hill on November 18th, this Saturday.
What's that mean to you? Like booking something like that? Like, is your first time at Duck Room or?
Yeah, first time.
Right. And then, so like, I mean, does that kind of stuff go through your head about, you know, just like all the legends that have been on the stage, including Chuck Berry and multiple times, obviously.
Absolutely.
You know, but
absolutely, I saw Chuck Berry there. I want to say it was probably in 2010. Myself and my ex-wife got my mom and dad tickets to go see him, and then we had dinner at Blueberry Hill, and then we went downstairs and watched him because he used to play. It was like he had a standing like every Thursday or Friday. He had a standing like every third Friday or something like that he would play. And it was cool. I mean, he still he was a little older, but he was still, you know, he was still playing guitar and soloing and
sure,
you know, he was still really talented. It definitely does go through my head a little bit, you know, like different shows that I've seen there. And different venues, and you know, even on the road, we recently played First Unitarian Church in Philadelphia, and that's like a legendary hardcore and punk venue. And I've heard rumors that they're like not going to be doing as many shows there anymore, or that like there's like a one promotion company that does all their shows there, and they're not letting other people do anything there. But that was a really cool experience. Like, it's in the basement of this church, and it's a 500 cap room, and that was really awesome. And then, I mean, Duck Room here off Broadway, the first time we played off Broadway, that was another place that I always really wanted to play. And I kind of look at it, I feel like in some ways, you have to earn, like, okay, we started out playing the Sinkhole, and like, I love the Sinkhole. We play there at least once a year, if not twice. And we played Heavy Anchor, and we played Platypus. That's a new spot, but those are like all kind of more DIY type venues, and then you start selling more tickets and get more people coming to your shows, and then it's like, oh, maybe we try off Broadway this time. And they gave us a chance a year. The first time we played there was at the beginning of 2022, so we played there 3 times now. And we love off Broadway, I just wanted to do something a little bit different this time and try a different venue. Yeah. And, I had reached out to them a few times, and, there's like the stars weren't aligning, but this time it worked out. And I'm really, I've seen so many shows there, and Blueberry Hill is like kind of close to my heart. I had my 30th birthday there.
Nice.
Me and my ex-wife used to go there a lot. I've had a lot of nights of just hanging out there, a lot of drunk nights. I won't be ashamed. And it's just a great time, and it's like, I'm really looking forward to this show. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, man. Well, let's talk about some new music, something you might hear that this Saturday night.
Yes.
And these are all working on for that album that we're coming up to.
Yes.
And but we got a couple we wanted to leak out there, give you a little teaser, and I'll start with a song called "A Minute to Breathe."
Yes.
And this is one I really liked a lot. I felt and we kind of maybe talked a little bit about it off mic, but I feel like this is a good reminder to people. We all get so busy with everything, I feel like for you in particularly, you're looking at, you're going on these tours, you're doing all this cool stuff, but sometimes you get caught up in all of that, and then it's like, it's nice to take that moment to realize, hey man, we're living our dream right now. Like
Absolutely.
Tonight, like this is on this stage, and this is what we've been doing this for. And so I think, everybody in your daily life, whether it's, in the band or if it's just in your, like, you've been working hard to make these things happen. And I think you just need it. It's a good reflective song to like take a moment to realize, hey, you're doing it right here. So I was like, there is today, not to, let's not worry about tomorrow until we get there.
Absolutely. You really hit the nail on the head. Just even in your daily life, like, I've practiced meditation and mindfulness and all of these types of things to kind of, I've been doing it for years now, almost 10 years, but like, and even being a person who practices these things, it's still very easy to get caught in the past of like the things that have happened that, I've been through a divorce. Like, I've been through a crazy, 2020 was really a crazy year for me. Like, I went through a lot of transition. I went through a separation and divorce. So I moved out of my house. I moved into somewhere new. I got a new job and all these things. And sometimes it's really easy to kind of look back on experiences like that you had that make you feel kind of sad and get stuck in that feeling that you had back then, and then also on the flip side of that, it's really easy to think about all the stuff that you have to do tomorrow or next week, or, the holidays are coming up and all this stuff. And you can get so wrapped up in your head about it. But right in this moment, none of that's happening.
Right.
We're just here in this room, and that's the only thing that really exists. And that's really kind of what I wanted to convey in this song. That is, it's like a fast punk song too, which is kind of funny because it's like this. It's a little bit of a deeper message, but I was like, this is the fastest, shortest song on the record, and it's just kind of like straight up, like, you know, full throttle skate punk. So
Yeah. I feel like that's not uncommon though. Like there's so many songs kind of like in that, like the juxtaposition of it all, like that. And I say it a lot, but it's one of my favorite lines in Robin Hood Men in Tights, when he's like telling him, like he reports back and he's like, yeah, we got good news and we got bad news. And he's like, could you just tell me the bad news in a good way? And then he's like, he's like, yeah, okay. And like, so, but it's that same, it's like you can make it sound happy even though there are sad lyrics.
Sure.
Or
sure.
you can make it, be some sensitive lyrics to a hard punk song or whatever, it's like so it's kind of makes your mind can kind of be tricked a little bit into, you're singing along to these lyrics, but even though you might not always get the full effect of what you're singing, and sometimes, but so I don't know. It's kind of funny how like the sounds, the instrumental of the music can change how your perspective on it and stuff. But
yeah, I totally agree. I think that even if the lyrics are, some of our songs are sad, are straight up sad songs that don't. The music is poppy and happy and catchy, so you don't necessarily catch on to it. But for me, like I maybe wrote that song as like a therapeutic thing. One of our songs that we play is we usually end with it is For What It's Worth. The song is called For What It's Worth, and it's about people in your life passing away and your wish that they would come back, and that you would pretty much do anything to get them back for one day. And it's a very meaningful song, and it's like, just because this is sad, I'm feeling joy when I'm singing it. You know what I mean? Like it's a release for me. It doesn't mean that like just because a song is sad that like I'm feeling sad right now. It's like, was I sad when I wrote it? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, sure.
But I'm not now, you know, and music has really become that for me, is that like cathartic, therapeutic, like release.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, man. I mean, I get the same thing as a fan. Like, you know, that's why I love some of the records I do. And like, just, you know, it's for me, it's like, it helps me work through stuff, makes me realize I'm not alone. You know, like there's so many times you get caught up in your own stuff and you're like, and then you hear somebody sing some song like that and you're like, you know, oh, we're all going through the same stuff. And, you know, so, but yeah, I agree, man. So, we got that one out there. We got well, this is just a leaked on here. We don't have any on the officially streaming yet.
It's not on streaming yet, so you can only hear it
right
on Rock Paper Podcast. We also played it on Beyond FM.
Yeah, sure.
But
yeah. Big shout out to Tony and the crew.
Thunder was not played on there.
Yeah?
So I gave you one
right.
that wasn't played live. So
so we do have an exclusive then, huh?
Yes.
Well, I wanted to talk about another tune. We just did a little live take on one. And this was a song called Paper Hearts. And this is just Wes and a guitar here at Encapsulated. And I love this stuff. I talk about it a lot too, but I mean, obviously the records are fun, and but I like kind of the idea, like you writing these songs in your bedroom or whatever, your office or wherever you find yourself writing, and or in the back of the van or however it goes. And but you know, I like kind of like stripping it down to the demo version, you know, the raw bit of the song. But so this is always fun for me, and it got me thinking also, like as we talked about doing this, like all those collections of like pop goes acoustic, punk goes acoustic, and stuff like that. Those were always a lot of fun. Those records, all the punk goes pop or rock or whatever, all the different things they did. So
it gives it a little bit of a different spin, because, you know, if you'll notice that, like, when I'm singing with a full band and when I'm singing on the recordings, like it's the same key, but I'm singing much higher.
Yeah.
And when I'm just playing my acoustic, it's a little bit like I'm singing a like lower octave. So it's got a different feel to it.
Yeah, for sure. When you also did an acoustic you actually produced and
I did,
published some acoustic versions. So I thought that was cool to have those out there, even with a cello on there.
Yes, we had this guy. He goes by the Punk Cellist.
Yeah,
and he has played with he's played with H2O. He's played with a Wilhelm Scream. He's played with some really big bands on stage, and I'm kind of glad that I got to him when I did. This was I guess it was it would have been 2021 or 22 when we released that. And I was kind of like, hey man, I hit him up and I was like, would you do a feature on this? And instead of having the guitarist play the da 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 da, he did the cello, and I didn't realize that he like harmonized with himself too. And he sent me the files, like, you know, we came to an agreement, like, you know, I sent him some money, he sent us some files, I gave him to Gabe, and the rest was history. But like, yeah, I want to do that again, like, you know, when we have more material out. I want to do like another collection of songs. And one of my favorite bands is Bayside. I don't know if you're familiar with Bayside at all. They've been around for a while, but they're from New York, and they have like, I mean, they've been around for since 2003, I think they started, maybe 2002. And maybe even before that, I don't know. But throughout their discography, they have like 3 or 4 different acoustic volumes now. And I always thought that was kind of cool, is like in between their releases, they would record like acoustic versions of some of their songs. And then on one of them, they did like a Smoking Popes cover. They had on one of them like an original song that was just like an acoustic song that they, wrote for that record. So I kind of wanted to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm not ripping them off. I'm not ripping them off. I'm just influenced by them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe Paper Hearts will make that collection one of these days. But what do you want to tell us about Paper Hearts? What kind of comes to mind around this song?
Yeah, so this was one that almost like I felt like when I wrote it, I was like, this is a really good song. This is really catchy. It's like it's kind of short and sweet, but it's like it's emotional, but it's also it's also just really catchy. And I kind of had the idea of of course, going through the separation and divorce and everything, I kind of had the idea of like writing a person a letter for the last time, of like, this is kind of like our breakup letter, or this is me writing this letter to you saying like, our friendship is over, or this relationship is over. And, kind of saying, in the verse I say, cut me up and fold me over, like I'm the paper heart, and put it in the letter, and like, let's just be done with all this. It's a really fun song to play live. Like I said, it's pretty short and sweet, but we have been adding what we call the browtro to the end of it. So we add this kind of like really cool jam session to the end, and it like, it kind of dies down and it crescendos up. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, you'll have to come to the Duck Room on November 18th.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
This is how it should be. Life goes on without me. You left my messages on red. Open wounds are mending. The music, the memories are living rent-free in my head. It's time. Whoa. Cut me up and fold me over. Stamp the letter and send. We were never good together anyway. You go on and make your getaway. Is this finally over? No way left to shoulder, and no more stories left to tell. Not broken, but bending. Paper hearts I'm sending. I hope this letter finds you well. I learned my lesson for the last time. Whoa, cut me up and fold me over. Stamp the letter and send. We were never good together anyway. Go on and make your getaway. I learned my lesson for the last time. I learned my lesson for the last time. I learned my lesson for the last time. Whoa, cut me up and fold me over. Stamp the letter and send. We were never good together anyway. Go on and make your getaway.
This all sounded great, man. I'm excited. And it's so cool to see you and the band doing big stuff. I mean, like I said, we got this show here in town, which is, becoming more and more rare. You guys are out on the road a lot more. St. Louis shows are going to be a special occasion, as you guys are branching out a lot more.
Yeah.
So, we got a couple of dates coming up. We're going to, you said Philadelphia on December 2nd.
Philadelphia, yes.
And Kansas City on December 8th.
Yes. So we have in Philadelphia. So we signed with a record label this year called Jumpstart Records. They're based out of Philadelphia. They have some really awesome bands currently. Bad Planning is one that we have toured with and done some shows with. They're from Chicago. You Vandal is another band from Florida that they're kind of more of like a Newfound Glory style pop punk band. They're super, super fun. We're getting ready to go on a tour with them in Florida. But one of their bigger bands that they originally signed like back in the early 2000s was a band called A Wilhelm Scream. And they are by far and away one of my favorite bands. I think I've said that about like every band that I've mentioned on the show, but
All right.
they are doing a festival in Philadelphia at a brewery, and A Wilhelm Scream is headlining, and then No Trigger, which is another really awesome punk band that's been around for a while, they're playing as well. And then a bunch of the Jumpstart bands, a band called Bitter Branches, which is also like kind of a little bit of a Philadelphia super group. One of the guys from Lifetime is in that. Dead Guy, one of the guys from Dead Guy is in that as well. So if you're an old school hardcore fan, you definitely know those bands. But so we're flying out to do that, and I'm really looking forward to that. We played in Philadelphia, like I mentioned earlier this year, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to coming back and playing kind of a bigger show with more bands from that area. And then in Kansas City, we were playing with Stay the Course once again, because they're from Wichita, and one of the guys is from Kansas City. And then My Escape, which is a Kansas City band as well, and Clearfight, which is also they're based out of Kansas City too. So kind of what you were alluding to a little bit is like, we're definitely, we played 5 shows in St. Louis this year. All of them, with the exception of one that we were kind of jumped on with just like maybe a month's notice. I really try to space my shows out so that, we're not playing every week or every month. I usually try to space it out by a couple months, and usually we're going on the road in between. So next year, with our new album coming out, like it's probably going to be more like 2 or 3 times in St. Louis. So, we're starting to hit like Chicago and Kansas City, Nashville, Indianapolis, Memphis, like all the places that are kind of within a day's drive.
Right.
We're going to hit all of those at least twice a year, at the beginning or the end, at least probably like a few months in between, 3 to 6 months in between. We're also going to hit like smaller places like Columbia, Carbondale. We had a great show in Carbondale not too long ago. Cape Girardeau. We had a ridiculous show in Cape Girardeau earlier this year. So we're going to be hitting some of those places, and, and it's fun for us because it's like an adventure,
Right.
But now we're also like, we're starting, we do have people that are saying, hey, when are you coming to Texas? Like, when are you coming to Florida? Now we're going to Florida. So we do have people that are wanting us to come to these places as well. And, so, we're trying to get out there. It's a little difficult, like, to get to Florida, you have to fly unless you want to spend 2 days driving there,
Right.
So yeah, kind of what you were saying to your point. It's going to be more of a rarity for us to play hometown shows, but we just want them to be that much bigger and that much better when we do.
Yeah. Yeah, man. What's when you guys do get to jump in the van and do those road gigs? What's your like go-to road snack?
Oh, I'm a big beef jerky guy.
Yeah.
They're a little expensive, but there's 7-Eleven has these like beef jerky mahalo teriyaki tender bites, and they're so good, but it's like $17 a bag.
Yeah.
So I really like those. I really Steven loves Sour Patch Kids. Jacob's a big beef jerky guy too. Hez is we have different drummers go with us, but Hez, I know he loves Core Water and iced tea. I'm trying to think of what his snack is though. Damn it, that's gonna bother me. But yeah, we're all kind of I like all snacks.
Yeah.
I love cheddar and sour cream chips. Those are like I had some today. Like
I just enjoy also like when I am traveling like that, stopping at just like small like random gas stations and just seeing if I can find whatever's like local to that region or something. Try to find something different, like kind of thing. Like usually if you go to like a Quick Trip or whatever, they're like kind of all the same. Like you don't get a lot of the regional stuff so much,
right?
But or you might get a little bit, but definitely if you go to like a small independent gas station, you'll get something unique, I think.
Absolutely. We went to Canada. We went to Canada in June, and we played a couple shows up there. And they have you heard of all dressed potato chips?
I don't think so.
It's ketchup flavor, salt. I think like a little bit of cayenne pepper, garlic pepper, or like a garlic seasoning to it. It's called all dressed. And I was getting it's like a Canadian thing. They're starting to kind of come into like people are starting to make them here. Like Red Hot Riplets makes a brand all dressed chips now. So it's kind of becoming more popular here, but it's like a Canadian thing. And they were all over the place there. They had KFC seasoning chips as well that I tried. Those were pretty good. When we were in Canada, we were getting all kinds of weird stuff from the gas stations. And then, at the McDonald's there, they have poutine at the McDonald's.
All right.
So you can get buffalo chicken poutine. You could get, Jacob got a double Big Mac in Canada. I had like this chicken wrap thing that they normally don't make here. It wasn't like a snacker wrap. It was like bigger than that. But yeah, that's we when we're traveling, we usually try to find like the weird candies. Right. And Canada also they try to be a little bit healthier than us, and they don't have any fountain sodas there. I can't remember. We've talked about it a little bit, but I can't remember why. And then we went to the dispensary there as well to like buy some weed, and I was like, "Hey, can I get some gummies?" And they were like, "Oh," they explained to me, they're like, we don't do the whole sugary thing here, so we can give you this like, what's the best way to explain it? It was like a bunch of fruit kind of like mashed into a little cube that had like weed in it, and it tasted like blueberry.
Huh.
So yeah.
Did the job?
Yep. Yeah, you got the job done.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just think it's fun. I enjoyed traveling, hitting the open road like that. We drove down to Orange Beach, Alabama, a bit ago for our anniversary, and had a week on the beach.
What year anniversary?
It's our 9th.
Ooh, okay. Next year's 10th,
so,
baby.
Yeah. We kind of set like this, precedent now as our yearly vacation getaway. We went to like Daytona in 22, and then Orange Beach 23. So then we're like, I guess we got to do something big for 10. So
yeah, you do.
So I don't know what we're going to do, but we pitched out some ideas. We'll see what happens. But we also was kind of, it's all up in the air because we're also trying to buy a home. So I'm like, well, if we get a home, I might put might change our budget for so if we go get something. But anyway, we'll see what happens when we get there. But yeah, it's kind of, we've been together 14 years and married for 9.
Okay. Awesome.
So
congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. But let's talk about one more tune we want to sneak peek. And like you said, this is exclusively right here on Rock Paper Podcast.
Yes.
And this is a track called Thunder.
Yeah. So the last 2 songs on the album are called Lightning and Thunder. And these songs, along with A Minute to Breathe, feature Christy Untersee, or she goes by Clue. So our drummer has, it's his wife. They're married, and she has been singing with us probably a little over a year now, like on stage. Like she was kind of doing the guest vocals on our song For What It's Worth. And when we were finishing up the album, I was like, why doesn't she come in and just do a bunch of background vocals on some of the songs? And I think like she had been singing with us anyway, and I think that would just kind of add a little bit of an extra like dimension to this. I considered her to be like part of the live band, right. So she's gonna sing probably like 4 songs with us at the Duck Room. They'll be all kind of at the end. But this song particularly, I kind of wanted to have like, a different voice on, because this is, I wrote this about my girlfriend and my partner, Lisa. We've been together for 3.5 years, not quite 9, but we're getting there. And this was a song that, I mean, man, it's crazy to think that like I wrote this about the first time, how I felt about the first time that I told her that I loved her. And that it's been that long now that this song's been written and recorded. It's probably been more like I think we had maybe been together for a year or so when I started to write this. But yeah, it's a very, it's kind of like a love song, and I wanted to have kind of, a girl's voice on it too. So it's very, you have to listen to the whole song, because I know it has kind of a long intro, but you have to listen to the very end, because it's an epic song.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Check it out here exclusively right now. You mentioned early on that being from the Illinois side,
Yeah.
and a young man wrote in a question for you. And
Who was it?
You might know from the question. Where did I put that at? Boom, there it is. He writes in, ask Wes when, is it Samus?
Samus. Yes,
Samus
that was our band.
are doing a reunion tour, and if Kick In Emergency can open.
Is that Levi Hofford?
This is Jesse.
Oh, Jesse. Okay.
Jesse.
I didn't know Jesse was on Instagram.
I guess I didn't know he was on any of the socials, but apparently he is, and because he saw that and he sent me a text.
Okay.
So.
Hey, Jesse. I love that dude. By the way, I haven't talked to him in a while. We were like texting fairly often. I have to give. Okay, so that's Jesse McClary from Old Capitol Square Dance Club.
Yeah.
And I have to give him a big shout out because he was him and the guys in that band, but specifically him, were kind of like, he's a couple years older than me. I think he was like 20 or 21 when I was in high school, and I was like 17 or 18. And he was kind of like the older brother that I never had, that showed me all the cool music,
right.
and like even would tell me about like movies and stuff like that maybe I needed to see, that my parents probably didn't want me to watch, and he really told me about a lot of music. And their band, before they were Old Capitol Square Dance Club, they were like a punk emo band called Kick In Emergency, and they were very, very good. And we always strived to write music similar to them. They were just so dynamic and melodic, and then sometimes fast and heavy, but then they could also play like very soft and pretty and make stuff. They were just great. And I'm still mad that they ever broke up. But I don't know. I know that like Old Capitol and Levi Hofford's band, who I mentioned, they're called I Like Snaps. They recently did a reunion show in Vandalia, and I was on tour in Cleveland, so we couldn't play. But I would be interested in playing a show there back in Vandalia. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a little over an hour from here. I don't know if anybody in that town cares to see me play. It's one of those weird things. It's like, I don't know if anybody, I don't really keep in touch with anybody in Vandalia. My family is all still there. They would come out, which would be kind of cool. But
yeah.
I don't know if anybody there. It's actually, I do know that some of the people that are there, when I was recently on 105.7 The Point with Donnie Fandango, and a couple people came out of the woodwork and they were like, dude, I heard you from Vandalia. They were like, dude, I heard you on 105.7 The Point. Like, right. What is going on?
Yeah. Nice.
So I don't know. Maybe we would have some people out there. It doesn't cross my mind too often, but
man, I speaking of Vandalia, there's so I when I used to do this Songwriter Showcase monthly series until COVID, I had Jesse and Zach from Old Cap and Dave Manis of the Manis Brothers, and we did a fun night out there, and I don't know, it was halfway through the night or whatever it is, and Jesse and Zach have mentioned Vandalia a couple times because hometown, and so I'm pretty sure we got to Jesse, and then he's getting ready to queue up another one, and Dave goes, let me guess, another song about Vandalia. And he's like, it's just like, so perfect, perfectly dry and like sarcastic and just like, but it just made me laugh so hard when he said it.
I don't think I share the same pride for the town as Jesse and Zach do. Like, I wanted to, get out of there as soon as I could. And I haven't really, I had to go back a couple times to, in my early 20s. I had to move back in with my parents and stuff for a little while, but, I don't, I'm more, Ask them about their old songs about Vandalia.
Yeah.
Because there was a song called Party at the Moon Tower that was all about how much they hated being
Yeah.
in Vandalia.
Well, I don't know that all of
So
them are.
maybe I never grew out of that.
I don't know that they're all like positively about Vandalia,
Oh, okay,
but
okay.
they that's kind of where a lot of these started for sure. So, but I think that's I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of people. I definitely feel like I've gone through that phase. I never left, but you go through. I think everybody kind of that hometown thing where you're like, man, this place sucks, and I got to get out of here, and like just like. And you just think anywhere else would be better. And then,
Sure.
But then like I realized like I do love it here in St. Louis. I call St. Louis home. I live, again, 40 miles west, but like this area, everything about it, like even though Wentzville is my hometown where I went to school and stuff, but like this area, everything around here is like, I have a lot of fun and like, but even my own hometown, I live now just minutes from the house I grew up in, and
Sure.
it's like I have not gone too far, and it's like, but it's kind of like I feel like everybody kind of goes through those moments, but ultimately I think I'm happy being right here. So
Yeah.
that's all I really know, though.
I go a little back and forth about St. Louis. For the most part, I do have a lot of St. Louis pride. I've lived here for a long time. I lived in Collinsville, and I moved to St. Louis in like 2005 for the first time, and then moved back home, and then moved back, and then ended up in Collinsville for a while. But I was still here every day. I was in the city. I had an office in the city, and of course, the things about the city that I love are like the Cardinals and the Blues, and all of those, Emo's Pizza, all those like deeply rooted things about the city. And I do feel like this is like the size of the city is nice because, if you're in a bigger city like Chicago, even though Chicago is very much a pop punk town, and my band is a pop punk band, and we do well in Chicago. I love playing shows in Chicago because we played there 3 times in the last 2 years, and we've never had a bad show.
Yeah.
It's always been awesome, and people afterwards are always like, man, you guys need to come back here. Like you'll do really well here. And so we come back and we do really well. But I do feel like in with the size of St. Louis it's a big small town. You know what I mean? So doing something like we're doing, I think you can maybe make a little bit of a bigger splash in a town this size than if you were in Chicago or New York or LA or even a bigger city like Dallas. It might be harder to get people's attention because it's a much bigger city and there's a lot more going on.
Right.
And I felt the same way about when I had my business Treehouse. When I was doing networking events, I was like, "Oh, this is maybe this might not work in a bigger city." I remember I went to Chicago and told the people what I was doing about these networking events, and they're like, "We wouldn't even know where to start here with like getting networking events and getting the right people to come to these events because." Like the city's so big,
Right?
and they're like, what? And then I was like, well, focus on one neighborhood, like Logan Square or Wicker Park. You know what I mean? Like focus, like start small and see where it goes from there. But yeah, I mean, I do have to admit sometimes I go to another city, especially in the winter. I know that when I come back from Florida, in January. I'm going to come back from the sunshine and the beach, and I'm going to come back and it's going to be cold and gray and snowy here. And I'm going to be like, why do I live here?
Right. Yeah. I think about that a lot too. I think I like, especially like, visiting the beach, for, our anniversary. Like I said, like, I'm like, man, I could get used to this. Like, and I think it would be fun for a while, but then I feel like because I don't have that in my life, I think like it would kind of eventually, I wouldn't be like at the beach all the time like I think I would. I think it'd be just like you take it like, yeah, of course we could, but like everything else you're gonna find other things and you're doing in your life, and So I don't know. I just feel like it eventually would wear off the cool factor that it has for me right now because, I don't have that in my life. So I don't know. So it's nice that we have such a variety of things here. I feel
it is.
But I don't know. Not that I'm real, I know you always hear people all 4 seasons and all that. And I was like, well, fall only lasts usually a couple minutes if it goes from summer right to winter, and sometimes
yeah, we definitely
but
that definitely happened. I feel like this year we've had more of a fall.
yeah,
it's been nice. It's stuck around in the 60s for
Right.
a little while, which I love fall. It's probably my favorite season, but I really hate the winters here. And I mean, I lived in Norway before, where it was during the winter, where it was really, really cold. For one winter.
Yeah.
But the winter here, just some years, it feels like it's never going to end.
right. Oh yeah.
Oh,
All right, I got another question for you. More of a statement, I guess. Not really necessarily a question, but Dana wrote in, I feel like Wes is a king who really understands the power and utmost importance of communing in person and community building in general, both in real life and online. I'd love to hear his thoughts on this. Open-ended, and perspective is sure to be valuable. So, what does community building mean to you? And stuff?
So that's Dana K. Goddard, right?
Yeah.
So I met her during the time when I was doing my Treehouse network shop stuff, and I was doing the networking events, and I do think, I think the meeting people in person is very important. And I mean, even in the aspect of with my work, I just recently have been talking to, I'm a recruiter for a big company here in town. And, I was recently just working on some projects with this factory. And, I finally went down to the factory, which is just in South County. And I met these people that I have been working with for almost a year face to face finally. And it was again, it was this barrier had been broken. You know what I mean? It's a lot of times I think with the internet, I think the internet has almost made us more disconnected than it has made us connected, even though it's so easy to keep in touch with people.
Sure.
It's made us more oh, I can catch up and see what Wes is doing, through Instagram, and I can see his posts and see what's going on with him, and he seems like he's doing all right. So I don't need to reach out, and even just having a phone conversation, we're afraid of our phones. We're afraid to answer our phones. Your phone rings, and I usually if I know who it is, and usually I answer, but sometimes somebody calls me out of the blue and I'm not expecting their call, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll let that go to voicemail, see what they need. You know what I mean? Before I am blindsided by some kind of information. So, but back in the day, you would call people and talk and catch up, and we don't do that anymore, you know? And I think that's why you have to make a conscious effort, to do those things. And, I've recently had, I was recently talking to my girlfriend about this as well. Is I probably come off as a very strong. I don't want to say strong, but positive, grounded person, and usually I'm posting positive things on social media, and I've really kind of stopped doing that for a while, and I was I don't feel maybe because I put off that perception and that vibe, and it really is genuine, it's authentic, but I don't have a lot of people that check in on me and ask me hey man, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? And I have struggles just like anyone else, and sometimes I need somebody to reach out to me and ask me how I'm doing. And I'm not above reaching out to a friend and being like, of course my best friend Jacob, who's in the band with me. I reach out to him sometimes, and I'll kind of air things out a little bit, and I do talk to my girlfriend about a lot of things that are bothering me. But you don't always want to be the person that's like reaching out, and I think that's a big thing, especially with men. November is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, but like, we don't feel like we don't want to be the ones to reach out and say, I need help, I need somebody to talk to. But if somebody came to you and said, hey, like, how are you doing? Is there like, you want to talk? Like, what's going on? Like, how are things going? Then like, you might open up a little bit more because they're giving you the space to do it, as opposed to feeling like you're a burden reaching out to someone. So I went off the rails right there, but like, but all of that to say is that's what I think the importance of meeting with people in person is. During COVID, I worked from home, and I got a new job during COVID at the beginning of 2022, and it was with this company in New York that I had never met any of these people. They were scattered all over the country. The company was fully remote, and at my old job, everybody knew who I was and knew like part of my history and my background, and I had met those people in person, and it gave me such a sense of anxiety and weirdness of like dealing with these people that I didn't know, just through like instant messages and emails and like chats about these projects, because I don't know who this person is. They don't know who I am. And it's this weird back and forth, like, things get tense, things get like, when you're working and you're working against deadlines and clients are mad about stuff, like it gets tense, and you don't know how this person feels about you. You don't know what they're going through. The only interactions that you're getting from them are through little text bubbles. And it doesn't, it really like messed with my mental health. And so I went back to my old job and everything was fine. But I think that's like a testament to that we are disconnected. And, it makes me, now my company is like, they want us to come back to the office and be in the office 4 days, which they're very flexible. If you don't make it in all 4 days, if you have things going on, then that's fine. But it puts me so much more at ease seeing my coworkers face to face, being able to walk 2 steps and ask someone a question rather than like send them an email or like chat and wait for a response. It's so much easier, and it puts my mind so much more at ease. And I think that's really important,
Yeah. I mean, we're I think as humans, we're meant to be more social like that, and, have that kind of community experience with the people we, whether it's family and friends, and, just like in your own thing. But I feel like the idea, even applying it to what you do in music, the shared experiences that we go through at like concerts, it's like the creating an experience in that room with the people where you get 100 people that are like-minded that all want to, are like sharing this moment. It's like it's a really powerful, special thing, and it's just like, so it gets lost on a lot of people that don't, I'll watch it on YouTube, or I'll wait for the, whatever. And it's just like, it's not the same. It's just like,
no. And you're, something that I encourage at our shows is everybody's here for one reason, and that's the music. Everybody is here because they like this kind of music, or they know someone in this band, or maybe they've never heard any bands and their friend told them to come along, and they're just along for the ride. But like I would say 90% of the people that are there because they like the music, or they like that kind of music. And so talk to somebody,
right? Strike
up a conversation with a stranger. Like, hey, you know what? Like, how'd you hear about this?
Right.
What band are you here to see? Like, oh, those guys that just played, they were awesome. Like, it's very easy to just strike up a conversation with somebody. And I feel like at our shows, I've really tried, I've made it a point to kind of like almost have them feel like like a community, like foster that environment of like, hey, you know, no assholes. You like, if you're going to be a jerk while you're here, like, just don't come. Like,
Right.
you know, if you're going to try to start shit or like, you know, have like some kind of attitude and there's going to be a fight, and, you know, I'm sure someday, like, you know, the more shows we play someday and the bigger the shows we play someday, that will happen. But like, you know, we've always had just a really good positive vibe, and I've always encouraged everyone to 100% feel like they can be themselves at our shows. I don't want anybody to ever feel like, you know, they can't be. If there's one place that you can feel like you can be your full authentic self, it's at a Wes Hoffman and Friends show. I want everyone to feel like that, and it doesn't matter if we're in St. Louis or Kansas City or Chicago or Philadelphia or New York or wherever. Like, I want everybody that's there to feel that way. And, you know, because I felt that way when I was a kid coming to punk shows. I was like, I remember my first time I saw MXPX here in, this would have been 2000. I mean, this was 23 years ago. Like, coming from Vandalia, where I was like one of the only punk kids aside from Jesse and Zach. Like, I was like, oh my God, there's 2,000 people here that all like this band. In my hometown, there's one.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and so you feel like, I felt like I belonged. I felt like I was part of something, and, you know, getting down to like, it's a basic human need to feel like you belong. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
So I want people to feel that way at our shows.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Well, again, you can come out Saturday night and be a part of that experience. And Blueberry Hill in the Duck Room. Tickets available at the box office.
It's at thepageant.com.
Right.
As well. You can get them.
And check those out. And again, we got great support on the show. So get there early and take it all in. It's going to be a fun night of great tunes.
Absolutely.
And, so you can find more from Wes Hoffman and Friends on all your streaming platforms. And follow along on Instagram and Facebook.
It's just at Wesley Hoffman on Instagram.
Yeah.
And dude, okay, are you wrapping this up?
Sure. I mean,
So I want to say one thing real quick though to you.
Yeah, all right.
I appreciate that you're doing this and that you're still. How many episodes are you in now? Over 1,000, right?
Yeah, 1,060 something.
Dude, that's incredible.
May will be 10 years of doing it.
I think that, you know, and I've said this before, is I think that what you're doing is as important as the music or any other band or anything like that. You know what I mean? And
Thanks, Wes.
I think we need more people that are kind of doing not the exact thing that you're doing, but something similar to support music in St. Louis. Or it doesn't even have to be music. It could be anything else. Anything else that you're interested in. But I think like you've definitely become with this podcast, like a staple and like an institution of St. Louis music. And, I mean, that's huge, dude. It's huge.
Thank you,
so
man.
like,
Yeah.
thank you for doing what you're doing. And, you know, I just really appreciate it. I'm grateful. And like, we were talking that, you know, that I think this is like the third or fourth time that I've been on the show. And, I had waited to hit you up because I was like, at some point we're going to have a big show and I'm going to need Shane's help.
Yeah.
But, I was glad that you were down, man. And it's, thank you for doing what you do. And I podcast off and on, and I know that it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And people hear the podcast and they see the video of me playing, but they don't see, you know, you drove all the way down here, you set up the mics and all your editing and all the stuff that you're doing behind the scenes. It's a lot of work.
Right.
I totally know that it is. And so thank you for doing what you do and helping us out, and not even helping us, like supporting us, but really doing what you do hand in hand with the music in St. Louis, and not even just one genre. You're like, you're out here. You're out here, baby.
There's
Super Shaney.
there's definitely some variety on here. A little bit of everything for sure.
So thank you. That's just what I wanted to say.
I appreciate that, man. It was very nice. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love it. I do it because I have a blast doing it. But yeah, definitely, there's times that I think just like anything, you get to, why am I doing this? What am I doing?
Absolutely.
It's like, but
does anybody care?
Right.
Is anybody listening?
But,
Dude, the same thoughts go through my mind.
Sure.
I get discouraged, and I'll be like, we can even have a freaking awesome tour, and our last tour was phenomenal. Like we had a great trip, and then even sometimes I'll just get in my own head and I'll be like, nobody gives a shit about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when it comes down to it, it's like, I give a shit about this. I care. I like doing
Sure.
it. I don't care what anybody else, like, you kind of just have to, again, like, come back into the moment of like, why does it even, I can't control what other people think.
Sure.
Like, I can just control what I do, and I'm enjoying doing this. So I'm not going to let, if somebody, doesn't like it or whatever, or you feel like nobody's listening, like, I'm doing it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's why I keep going. And I think it's going to be, someday when I do decide to hang it up, I think it'll be a really cool kind of time capsule of what we've created here in St. Louis music. And so, I just like, I'm really proud of what we've, first of myself, what I've done with the show, but also just as our city as a whole. Like, I mean, there's like I tell people all the time, like I love just listening to my friends. That's pretty much all I listen to is my friends' music. Like, a majority of it, it's like,
Absolutely.
So
some of my favorite bands are I mean, don't get me wrong, I love like the bigger bands that I mentioned, like MXPX and Bayside, and we were talking about Mest and these, Unwritten Law, and of course Story of the Year and Green Day and Blink-182 and all those big bands. But some of my favorite bands are the bands that we've toured with.
Right.
Stay the Course, Tired Radio, Rough Dreams, You Vandal, Bad Planning. Like, they're all my friends that like are kind of doing the same thing as me. Those are the bands that, and like Tired Radio, who we just went on tour with, they were literally, they put out an album during COVID, and it was one of my favorite albums of 2020. And I didn't even think, I thought, oh, like, we'll never end up doing anything with them. And then, like, we ended up going on a tour with them, and I got to see them play every night for 4 nights, and it was awesome. And I stood in the front row, and I sang every word, and it was super cool. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes, like, the best band, some of the best music is almost music that I do believe that some of the best music has not been heard yet. Mm-hmm. Like, it's someone somewhere, your favorite band is making music in a studio or a garage, and it just hasn't gotten it to you yet,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I tell people all the time, like, also, like, I encourage people to get there early, because you never know when you're going to find your next favorite band. Like, I've discovered so many great bands on support on shows, show up for, I bought the ticket for the headliner, but then I discover this opener or whatever, and it's just like, changes my life. And then I deep dive into their catalog and find all kinds of music, and that's a fun journey to discovering new tunes like that. So
yeah.
And that's this Saturday is a good excuse for get there early, because there are going to be a lot of great ones. And so come out early and support this show and have a great time. Grab yourself a sandwich, burger, or something at the Blueberry Hill. And
Blueberry. I am looking forward to having a burger at Blueberry Hill. It's been a while. It's been way too long.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, last time I was there, I didn't eat, but I'm definitely going to have a burger.
Right.
Like, we're sound checking early in the day at like 4:30. So I'm going to have like a couple hours to like let it digest and everything too. So I've already planned this out, Shane.
Yeah,
I'm going to get the cheddar spread oh my gosh, it's so good. I love it. I freaking love Blueberry Hill.
Yep. All right, Wes, I appreciate you doing this, buddy, and thank you for everything. You really means a lot to me. And I say we do it again soon, man.
We will. We will.
We got a new record to talk about here real soon. So
Absolutely.
maybe before long we'll sit down and get the band with us next time, and
Absolutely.
so and be sure to keep a lookout. You'll hear all about it, but yeah, vinyl coming soon, all
Yes.
kinds of stuff. So we got
vinyl. It's going to be on streaming. It's going to be the vinyl is actually going to be here soon.
Yeah.
We're going to have it probably in Philadelphia.
which I was stoked to hear that you're doing that, and so
Yeah.
definitely got to give me one of those. So
We'll get one too.
yeah. All right, buddy. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye, everyone.